On this episode of Mad Ginger Customs, I'm going to show you how to make a collapsible engine run stand that docks to a regular engine stand. Save space, you can run your motor, make sure it's good. And did I get screwed on a $300 small block 350 I bought off a marketplace? Meh, maybe. Let's find out together. Let's go! Well, welcome back to Mad Ginger Customs. So, you ever buy stuff off of Facebook Marketplace, engines, stuff like that, and you're like, that guy's probably lying to me. Short of tearing an entire engine down, what do? You know, can you throw power to a coil or a distributor and maybe hook up a boat tank or like a Motion Pro drip tank or something like that? Sure. But does that tell you, like, does a motor run decent? We're going to change all that thinking today, because what we're going to do is I have this engine stand and I have this small block 350. This is going in Jess's truck. I don't want to hear about it in the comments. I know. You can save it. It doesn't matter. We're trying to do this economically and quickly. But is this motor any good? Did this guy lie to me? Yeah, he probably did, right? What I want to build is an engine run docking stand. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to make it, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to tell you that. I want a stand that basically I can bolt or dock to my engine stand that has everything needed to do basic running, right? A radiator, a couple gauges, water temp, switch panel to, you know, turn a little clicky-clack fuel pump on, or maybe for whatever, turn the fans on the radiator. Something that I can fold and put in the corner of my garage, because we don't have a lot of room left in here because I build too many little devices. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get after it. So what we're using here, it sounds weird today, right? Yeah. This is 2" by 1/8 wall. So it's 2" OD, 1/8 wall. There is a reason I got 1/8 wall, because 1 1/4 pipe fits in there. It's not super snug, but it's enough that you can basically use it as the inside part and then put a set screw to hold it. That's my idea. I think it's gonna work fine, and we'll find out together. The next couple of things we cut were, this was a receiver that you can buy at Harbor Freight. It probably still has like the part number on it somewhere, but it's like so it's basically 2" inner. That's why we're using it. So I'm assuming this is 2.5 quarter wall, pretty standard. They didn't even broach the inside of it, look at that. But anyway, so what we're gonna use this for, we gotta clean this one up. It's already got a hole so we can weld it on. We're gonna use this to basically put our uprights to our engine, and we can slide it. That way we can make this thing adjustable, and it won't just be like, I'm running a small block Chevy, whatever. We want to figure out what's going on with the 292 Y block in Jess's red truck. So this engine stand technically should work for that too. And I want to make it long enough, and I know this is unpopular, but we do some Jeep stuff here, not a lot of it on this channel, but I would love to be able to put a 6-cylinder on this and have it run as well. Inline 6, I mean, so we're gonna make it that long. So this is gonna afford us the ability, you know, to slide back and forth, and we're just gonna put 2 brackets welded onto that, and that'll go up to our engine on the sides of the engine mounts. It should be fine. All right, so with this squared up, it's like 23.5 on the inside. So basically from the inside edge of this, which is squared with the square, and then we're trying to hold it fairly straight. You know, obviously we can kind of bend around, and then just going by feel of, you know, it's 2-inch, but there's an, you know, an overlap. So I think I'm going to tack them in and then run like a bead on it, and then we'll have to figure out the outside one, and that'll get us where we need to go, and this will give us enough real estate to put like a caster on it. But I want to be able to fold the leg in this bracket like this. We'll see if that works. We got to get the other one kind of in the same position, right? But with 2 inches in between to fit these. So let's do that. So this right here is the bottom, and I'm leaving a little window. I don't think it's going to be enough. I wanted enough that this could fold the corner through it when it folds up. We may have to round the edge here in order to get that to spin through to fold up. Same thing as like an engine hoist where the legs fold in. I'm kind of trying to do the same thing so I can save space, put it against the wall. So let's just blast these in. We'll kind of line it up, see how it goes, and then we're going to clamp the legs in, mark them, drill them, and then we can slide our 2.5s in there and build some bracketry for that. And then we need some uprights. All right, you know, so, something like that. Floor's not level. I don't think that engine stand. It's a Harbor Freighter, I think. It's probably not square, but it's probably close. And this is close enough for what we're doing. So here's the thought, right? If I give some distance here to here, this should rotate past. I could probably pull it in a little bit now that I'm looking at it. But this is the idea. So this, it'll hinge here, and then this one will lock it in. So what I did was I just marked them. It should be fine that way. And I got a welded piece underneath it to give it support. It'll be plenty strong for what we're doing. And then we can, once we got that firmed up, we can start building our little sliders, and then we have to build this back piece. You'll see. So that's what we got going on. These will not fold all the way up. We just have to trim like a radius, the bottom corner, and then they'll fold. I don't really like these casters, but it's what I had. I'm trying to keep the cost down. I've already spent way too much on this. I think I'm just going to tack the corners of them. If I don't like them, we'll just cut them off. Then we'll start building back for a platform, for battery, fuel tank, and then the upright to hold the radiator. Yes. So these are what was left over from the 12-foot after I took that crap out and that one out. They're almost 12 inches. It's 11 inch. This is another 32 I got in the back. This table's not flat. It is not a fixture table. You could not build anything that had to be precise on it. I promise it was not even close to flat. It's from Vevor. It was very inexpensive. I consider it a work table, not like necessarily a welding table. I do work with Vevor on other things. If you want this because you want to fixture things on it, nope, absolutely not. I can't recommend that you do that. But if you want a good work table, it's pretty sturdy. It's relatively flat. It's not perfectly flat. Maybe we'll do a video on how to like spiff it up. So I'm going to tack these legs in, so then I can measure and tack these legs in, and then Jess and I are going to get lunch. A little uphill action for you guys at home. All right, now that we're kind of remotely where we need to be, maybe I can take these off and zap them. We're going to weld uphill. That is horrible. Wow, that was horrible. I would probably have to repass that. That was that bad. Just being honest. Gotta be honest with you guys. That's terrible. Much better. You know what? That's good enough. Is it? That's off. We're going together. A little better. That's what happens when you rush. Stop rushing so much. I rush every minute of every day, guys. Guys, I'm a hobby welder. I've never welded professionally. I would never put something together that had to hold up a building. Remember that. Don't drag MIG wire. Yeah, I know. Shut up. It's fine. It's not holding the building up. Feel better about that? All the welders, they're professionals. Alright, now. Alright, meow, meow. Maybe we should tack some more wheels on while it's upside down. What do you think? Put it in the comments. Will this work? Alright. Had some lunch, and we are back. So, we need some vertical pieces to hold our radiator. We are not going to use the 2-inch. I have 1.5 that's plenty big. And we'll put one across the bottom to put the radiator to rest it on. And some type of affixment for the top. I made this upright 40 inches. Arbitrary. It's hard to kind of hold the radiator up against the, you know, the motor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these two of them in high, and then I'm going to put everything back together and then see where the radiator should sit, and then we will build a crossbar from one to the other. That's the plan. Taco man. It's nice that it's on wheels. Oh shite. Oh, that's gonna work. Alright, reaching over. Better to be lucky than good. I need something to hold up this radiator, and across the bottom is like 33 inches. That's a, man, that's close. I found this laying right here. This is like from Home Depot or something, but, and it's not heavy wall. I mean, I don't even think I gotta cut it. I can just put it on the way it is. So we'll clamp it on and just give it a, you know, a zap, and then we can set that radiator kind of on it and figure out how we can just kind of clamp it, because I don't want it permanently on there. If I need to use a radiator in a truck, I could take it off this thing and put it back on if I need to. All right. Wish I had another set of hands, but you know, where's Jess? Probably inside, reading a book, like always. That's the point. It's supposed to be her motor. She doesn't care. Nobody cares. Ow. She pinched me. She pinched me. Rawr. All right, I think that'll hold a radiator. But technically it should sit in. A couple $100. You don't want to ruin a couple $100. Oh yeah, that's mint. Captain's log. Start date, who cares? So here's what I'm gonna do to make side struts. Now, you might say, Dave, that's not gonna be adjustable. It doesn't have to be. We'll put the tabs here. These will be fixed, they'll be welded here. This unit will slide. The piece that's gonna be removable will be from here to here. This is 1/2 inch pipe, nothing special. This is just like 1/2 inch all thread so I can put it through. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take another piece of pipe, radius the inside so it fits, and go from here to there, and we're gonna weld it. So this will be one piece we can take out. And you're like, why don't you make something that slides? About why? I mean, the honest answer is, if we have to put another engine on here, none of this stuff's gonna fit regardless, and we're gonna have to make like a block plate, and then all we'll have to do is make this piece, and then we're done. So if we had to put another engine on here, like a different flavor, we certainly can. And that's the only piece we'd have to make. So I got some 1/2-inch pipe over here, and we're using what we have. Now, is 1/2-inch pipe the right thing to use for this? I don't know, who cares? I'm not gonna use like all that square tubing, because that stuff's way more expensive. I basically got it hanging so it's lifting the pressure from the front, because we don't want to hang it all on this, right? We want it to be supported, so I have it lifted right now. So when we put it down, this will help with the weight, and then we'll lock it down. I got some more hardware for that. I don't think it's gonna fold up the way I want it to. I'm kind of bummed about that, because when you fold it, I think it's gonna hit the radiator. But what it should do is we can just unbolt the legs and then fold them up and then bolt it back through. Live and learn, guys. That's all you can do, right? Cinder 4050 Pro. We'll shut her down. She's the MVP for today. So always shut your bottle off. You will leak all your gas out. So here's where we're at. We got some struts. This thing's like really solid. I have no problem running that. So what's left? We gotta build some bracketry for that, and a couple shelves, and this over here. I kind of knocked this together. I think I made the hole too big for the switch panel. But how many screws does it really need? We can use 3 or 2. What's the difference, right? And then we're not going to use bolts. I was just doing that for size. And I crudely bent it because I don't have a finger brake. Just whipped up a couple like aluminum brackets, just one on each side, and it's got like foam tape in it, like camper tape. This thing's rock solid just with 2. I want it so we could just basically take the screw out and remove it if we wanted to change the type of radiator, or if we need to use this radiator. Drilled a small hole here. That way we can take our little control panel and we can bolt it right to it. And that's all we really need to do for this. You know, this doesn't have any like pressure or anything on it. We'll use a fender washer on the inside. Or what I was thinking about doing is maybe I'll just tack it right there. I'll just weld it. And that way I don't use nothing. I can go full against it. Got the holes drilled for our little cheapo starting plate. It has relays. Well, it has 1 relay. I don't know what we'll use these for. I have a bunch of relays. This wire is tiny. There's no way you're going to run 40 amps with this tiny wire. But whatever, we'll change that. And then I got this, which is 4 gauge. Now, guys, this is not copper. This is copper-clad aluminum. I would not suggest you run this in your vehicle, but for this run stand, which is going to get very little use, you know, you're not starting the car every day with it, and it's not going to be exposed to elements. This stuff breaks down in the elements pretty quick, so don't use it. Don't use it for winches or things like that. Harbor Freight winches comes with that stuff. It's horrible. So change it out if you got it on your winch. All right, I'm probably going to save you guys the monotony of wiring. Nobody likes to watch wiring. It's a switch plate. It's going to be fed by a relay. The only thing we're going to be switching is coil power for these relays right here. And then the ignition relay. And that's it. We're not, you know, in the fans. So it's basically, one of these is for the fans. Actually, this one's for the fans. This one's for the ignition. It's a little bit bigger wire because we got to feed an HEI. The purple is the solenoid from the starter. And the yellow is going to be just a clicky-clack fuel pump. You know, if you got a mechanical fuel pump, you don't obviously need that, but... And that's pretty much it. So what I did was, I just made these cables with some quick connects that I got all this stuff off of Amazon. This is not, like, great battery cable. I think I talked about that earlier. It's copper-clad aluminum, but it'll work for what we did. So basically, I just made a whip long enough that it could feed multiple engines. Same with the ground. The ground really is going to go to here, and we're also going to ground the battery right to the frame of this, and that way I can run all of my coil grounds and my fan grounds right to the chassis of this. And that way I'm just going to stack all the relays right here, put the box right there. I had to get a starter for it. I was like, you know what? I put a solenoid on that thing because I stole it for Evan's Trans Am, and I'm like, I don't even think that starter's any good. And then I thought about it. I go, that was a standard shift car. As far as I know, they're different. So I had my son, who works at Advance Auto Parts, look it up for me, and he's like, yeah, Dad, it's definitely a different part number. So I said, just get me one of those. So I'm waiting on a starter. This video's obviously late because you guys didn't see me Monday. But we're kind of just doing things at our pace now. I'm, you know, it's hot in the summer, guys. It's really tough working all day and then coming out and doing this stuff. I do have a brand new mechanical fuel pump for this. It is one that is not a return fuel pump because Jess's truck is not a return vehicle. And I do have the new carburetor. I may do all of that ahead of time. I got new spark plugs with the spark plugs in it. I got to change the oil, but if I fire it up and the thing knocks, I'm going to be mad when I waste $30 some odd worth of oil. It has oil in it. It looks super clean. The filter looked clean before I painted it, because I'm like that. 18 gauge, Mig Madness, your Mignus. Status update. I'm in it now. Wires and relays and switches, and said, can I even hook this thing up? So I got a radiator hose. I don't know what the hell it is. I ordered it with the Rock Auto number. It's not even remotely close. So I went down to Advance Auto Parts in my local Advance, and I got basically a square body lower hose. Now, I knew that since I pushed this way, I would need a little bit of extra. So we got a little adapter, and actually the manager of the store, Greg, was like, he's like, yeah, if you need a little bit more, Dave, throw a piece of exhaust tubing in there. I'm like, as a matter of fact, I have every size exhaust tubing, so this will work. I'm going to clamp this up, clamp that up. Broke the Advance off the distributor, so we're going to steal Evan's distributor from his Trans Am. Shh, don't tell him. We're going to put that in there. We're going to button all this up. I'm going to finish all the wiring. I got the switch panel all welded up, and I painted it. Not too fancy. Don't stop it. It's not fancy. And then we're going to put the gauges in it. All we're doing is temp and oil. And then all our switch panel. We put some water in the radiator, battery, gas in the boat tank, maybe. Oh, and you got to run hose for the boat tank. And we're doing, guys, we're doing this. And we'll see if this little situation works. And I'm going to walk you through all the electrical. Really brief, because nobody likes electrical. All right, it's 2,000% humidity, so this is never, ever going to dry. Our little box that we knocked together. In all actuality, I probably shouldn't have painted it, but here we are. So it's going to have fingerprints in it. Do I care? No, I don't. This isn't, you know, a showpiece. This is a me piece. I think that's a theme with the channel. I don't care. I don't care about any of it. I just want it to work. Yeah, there's all the fingerprints, all of them. Kind of like that. And then we're going to put the gauges in. Let me get you off the table. So kind of like this. Can you even see that? Yeah. So our little switch panel. I thought about making this big. I don't know if I told you guys that. I was going to have a tack in it. I could do volts, but do we care? I got a GM1 wire. I mean, technically we could put bolts in it, I guess, but I'm not going to do that. I put spark plugs in it. I put 43 TS's. That's not what was in it. I'm not really sure. I'm going to check what was in it and probably try to find those, because I don't know if these heads are off. This thing is a hodgepodge. The water pump is an older water pump. It's got the smaller outlet. I mean, the larger outlet. So I had to get the different hose. I'm just hoping this thing's going to run. So I got the starter in it. I got the other header on the other side on. I got to take this header back off, put a gasket in it, bolt it back up. All right, guys, let's talk about how everything's wired really quick. All right, if this right here scares you, this may not be for you. It's just relays, right? So all relays do is this when you put power to them. So there's a coil that's wound through, and when you put power to the coil, it creates a magnetic field and just moves a switch. And all that switch does is connect 2 points. A lot of relays have an extra terminal, and when it's at rest, it's made so it's basically normally closed on one set of contacts and normally open on the other. When you open it, it goes this, and it makes these 2 contacts. So you just have to understand which things are connected to what, and then you'll understand how it works. The coil is usually signified by a spiral or a little box. That means that's the coil. And the other ones are usually like a bracket like this, and it's open or closed, and then when it basically tells you which one's open, which one's closed, and then it goes, when it pulls in, it goes click like that, and it makes these 2 connections. It is that simple. This is probably elaborate for what we're doing. I get that. Guys, if you're yelling at your screen, whichever your phone, computer, TV, and you're like, Dave, this is all way too much, you can run it on the floor. Yeah, you can. All you need is putting power to an HEI in the distributor, and then you need power at the starter, and you need power to the solenoid, which you can jump with a screwdriver, and then you need fuel. So if you've got a mechanical fuel pump, the thing will take right off. You have to be able to shut off the ignition to shut it down, but it is that simple. So, you know, is this elaborate? Yeah, but is this the right way I want to do it? This is what I'm doing this for me, right? I like doing this kind of thing. This is fun for me. This is how I relax after working. So I'm going to show you this situation up here, right? These are mechanical gauges. There's no magic there. If you don't know how a mechanical gauge works, that's on you. This is the main power switch to turn everything on through here. I'm not grounding that. Actually, maybe I will. And then the light will turn on. And then out of the engine start, I basically have one purple wire going to the relay, and it's the coil side. Everything here is coil voltage, not main power voltage. I'm not going to pull amps through these switches. The only amps that go through these switches are those coils, right? I bought a whole kit that came with tons and tons of coils. The fans came with their own, and all I had to do was make a little harness for them to share. Everything I'm grounding to the chassis, and basically this is the ground cable. So one of them goes all the way up here, right there, and then the other one is here, right? And we're gonna just screw it right to the chassis of this. That way all of these items are grounded. Everything is, there's fuses everywhere, right? So there's fuses on the power coming up, there's fuses on the coil power end of things. So technically everything is fused and it's protected. So if I did have a short or something vibrated, chafed, it's gonna blow the fuse. It's not gonna light the whole harness on fire. Guys, make sure when you do stuff in your cars, you put electric fans in them, even you put a little bit of, put a light bar in it, driving lights. Guys, use fuses and use relays. I've seen so many people just absolutely melt harnesses because they did that. So mechanical water pump or water gauge, and then just a cheapy rubber or plastic line. These fittings, say you like, if you're like me, you just reuse gauges. These fittings and ferrules are available local hardware store. All you want is 1/8 inch compression. That's all you need. I did kind of get a little wonky with screwing. I actually cut this too big on the plasma table. I'm not going to remake it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's not even really straight. I don't care. We're going to put a couple screws in here, and that thing's ready to ride. And then we're just going to bundle up these wires. I made everything long. That way we could, if we had to move stuff, I could move stuff. The starter wire's the purple, just because most GM cars are purple. I got extra everything. I got extra battery cable, extra ground cable. I wanted to make this thing usable for almost anything. Now, are the radiator hoses probably, you know, for this? For the most part, yeah. You know, the Ford stuff maybe on the other side, and the Jeep stuff maybe on the other side. But we could just use a flexi hose. Mortsky loves flexi hoses, so go get in his comment section and tell him how much Dave says he loves flexi hoses. He doesn't know who I am. Before we do anything else, we got to clean up this. I have a tendency to just, when I work, I kind of put things wherever I put them down, and on my tables and welders and stuff I don't need. Oh, what's in here? That's a review video coming up. You guys are going to want to see that. That's a pretty cool little product, as long as it works the way they said it does. Let's clean up. All clean. It was way easier than just being on the engine stand. I got a really bad floor, guys. I might put more wheels. I mean, the more wheels, the better, right? Right there. Need to bring this thing around to top dead center. Just kind of doing the finger in the hole trick. This thing does work, so everything works. So basically, that's the on that powers the panel. This, it does work. That starter needs to be shimmed. It's got all the shims in it. It needs more shims. I'm sweating. It is so humid. I'm not going to run the ignition power because it's touching something. We don't care about that. This is ignition. This one's fuel. This one's fans. It's I got the quick connectors on the battery cable, so they just pop off. See? Boop. And pop back on. I like that. I'm thinking about adding a wire up to the alternator, because then I could just check it with a meter, or I could just make another switch panel entirely and put a voltmeter in it, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna grab the Borescope and just check it, because if it's 180 off, I'll know right away, because if you have the right tools, why not use them? This is, we did a whole thing on this when we lit the chassis swap on fire. If you guys haven't seen that video, you should go watch that video. I lit the car on fire. This is a Teslong Borescope, or if you're Mortsky, it's the Schlong. So I'm gonna stick my finger deeply into the spark plug hole. I'm gonna zip it around, and then we're gonna check it with the Schlong. Most of the Chevys that I've seen, you know, odds, evens, different from a Ford where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know a lot of people, you should know that. Firing orders on here, most people have that memorized. But usually, when you got this thing on top dead center, which I just brought around my finger in it, the rotor points at 1, close, whatever. We're just gonna try to get the new distributor in the exact same spot. Let's just bring it around again. That's it right there. Close enough for what we're working with. Now usually what you can do is you can mark it or know that it aims at someplace, but this is, you guys have a cell phone with a camera. Just take a picture and then try to line it up. Oh, we got oil heading up there. That's good. It might have oil pressure. Who knows? Let's get the Schlong in there and see if we're on the top of the stroke. Because if we're not, we got to bring it around town. Oh, see, she's got a light. That's way too fancy for me. I got to be honest. All right. Now, can we look at this together? Let's see. Maybe. It's upside down. How do I flip it? There we go. Oh yeah, the piston's all the way up. See? Doesn't look too bad. A little carbon, not crazy. It's almost all the way up there. So that's the Teslong. It's got 2 cameras, one on the the straight end. I gotta flip it. Oh, it's the button in the front. Sorry. Oh, it's taking pictures. So anywho. Oh, there we go. So there we go. And then if you click the button in the front right here, it takes a picture and it stores it. So if you get in there, you can take a picture, you know, and you can steer it. Anyway, I'll have a link for this thing in the description. Teslong did not pay for this, you know, spot in this video. It's just, this thing works awesome. So if you need one, these things work great. A lot of YouTubers use them. This is a cheap small block HEI. I bought off of Amazon for Evan's Trans Am. We're stealing it from him. Comes with wires, that's good. Comes with a plug, which we're not going to use the plug. And a lot of guys miss this part of it. The advance in these is adjustable. If you take this off and you stick the Allen wrench in there and you turn it, it'll actually change the advance. So if you got a car that up in the RPM, it's just pinging like crazy, and you're like, and you with your timing gun, you're like, what the hell's going on? It's way too much advance. You can adjust that, just back it out. The Jeep HEI swaps are notorious for that. The inline 6 ones, everyone's like, oh, the thing pings like hell. I'm like, did you adjust the advance? They're like, what do you mean? Like, you can adjust the advance. Anyway, so we're gonna take this thing. Hopefully it works. It's, you know it's from China. I know, guys. And we'll stab this thing in. Maybe it'll give us some spark, and I think all we gotta do is hook up fuel. I think I'm just gonna change the carb. I was gonna try the carburetor, but the throttle shaft is so messed up. The thing is junk. I'm just gonna change the carb real quick because I'm gonna change it anyway. So let's throw this in. This thing is, I don't know what it is, 1406. So we're gonna replace it with the exact same carburetor. I have a 1906 and a 1406 that we bought. I got a super good deal on both of them, so I just bought them both. Oh, it's got a beautiful adapter, which this is what, minus 50 horsepower. Yeah, this thing's roached, guys. Yeah, the shafts are all worn. Edelbrock carburetors are great. They just work. And everyone that runs their mouth about them, they're like, you could make more power with a Holly. I'm like, it's a stock 350, not a race car. Just get over yourselves. You know, I mean, will the throttle shafts wear out on them? Of course they will. I don't like these wires. I don't even understand the loom thing on them. Whatever, we're just gonna run them for this. I'm starting to put some water in it. We're not putting antifreeze in it, obviously. And this is a 1406, and it is brandy new. Courtesy of my boys. This was, my son works in an auto parts store, so he gets a pretty steep discount on stuff like this. So they were like, hey, your son, he lives in your home, so you get the same discount he does. I was like, wow, all right. And they did like the whole employee thing where you get like, I think it was like 40%. I want to say it was like 40% off the employees got. And they extended that to me because he's, my kid living in my house. So I was like, how many of those carburetors you got? I'm like, I'll take them. And I'll take the intake manifold too. So anyway, spent the rest of my YouTube money. We don't actually take money from YouTube. We just use it to buy parts. So we don't make enough money, obviously. Let's strap this thing on. Let's continue to put water in here. I was gonna build a nice shelf here. I'm gonna put another support here, but there is a component to the shelf that I'm going to make in another video doing a product review, so that's why you're not gonna see it, but everything sits just fine. This thing slides around pretty easy. You guys saw me move it around. It moves around great. I'll probably bundle this up so it can't get, tied up, and it was pumping oil, so maybe that's okay. Check the oil, make sure the water circulates. I will run it with the ignition off until we build oil pressure. If we build oil pressure. Shears off some aluminum, clearancing itself. Self-clearancing, clearance. I have the adapter for the 700R4 TV cable. It's not a kickdown cable, it's a TV cable. Guys, if you're working on 700R4s, or if you work on AODs, you need to set throttle valve pressure, or at least understand that so you don't burn them up. So many guys like, I bought this transmission and it's junk, and I bought another one and that one's junk too. And then you're like, set the throttle valve cable, and they're like, I didn't know where that went, so I didn't hook it up. So idle mixture screws 1.5 out, pretty standard, I would think. And we'll sock these down, hook our hose back up. Now this carburetor wants a 3/8 hose. I get that. It's 5/16, you can kind of slam it on over. I think maybe we're ready to go. Oh, it's time. I'm a little nervous. This engine sat for quite a few years. The guy I bought it from, like I said, did say that it did run. He says, yeah, it's been sitting. You might smoke a bit when you fire it up, but he goes, it should clear up. It didn't make any noise when we pulled it out of the truck, and we pulled it out of the truck because the truck was rotted out. Likely story. All right. I got gas in the boat tank. Battery's charged. But I believe the firing order is correct. Distributor is remotely close. 1.5 on the screws. Plug the back of the carb. Got the advance hooked up. PCV. I don't see any other vacuum leaks. I filled the radiator, did I say that? So the first thing we need to do is, does that clicky clack even work? It's been sitting on my shelf forever. Oh, yeah. See if it changes tone. And then we'll see if we have squirters. Oh, we got squirters. All right. We got ignition. I'm not going to put the fans on just yet because I want to hear it. I'm probably going to have to put you guys here. No, here. Here we go, boys. Here we go. Doesn't have a lot of oil pressure. Little smoky, might have been the headers. Head gasket maybe. I don't know if it's building pressure. I don't think it has a thermostat in it, that's why. Still got oil pressure. It's awesome, guys. It works great. Starting to burn everything off. Water's moving. Starting to bring up the water temp. I do have the fans on. Definitely pulling heat out. I'll probably just warm it up. See where the oil pressure goes? Shut it down, let it cool off, come back, set the timing. switch. This is so awesome. I've always wanted a run stand. Still got oil pressure. Temp's still low. And it's been running for a while. I just turned the fans back on to like 160. Hit that button, kills the whole thing. Guys, I'm super stoked. Guys, this turned out way better than I hoped. A couple things we're gonna change, right? So when we fold this up, we basically have to, instead of folding it on the back leg, we'll just have to take the bolts out, put the leg in, and then put the bolt in this way, and then they'll go up through here. These come off, this thing folds away, and it's only maybe 24 inches. Total. We're also going to build ourselves a little handy dandy shelf right here. That's going to be in another video where we do a product review that is going to help us along the way. Fans work good. Radiator keeps it cool. Motor sounds good. Motor sounds like it's got a cam in it, which is good. I don't think it has a thermostat in it. So we're going to take this back apart. It's obviously not going into the truck like this. We're going to do a rear main seal, front seal, obviously the water neck, the thermostat. I'll probably leave the distributor and buy Evan another one. Carb seems dialed out of the box, which most of these are. I don't know if the headers are going to fit in the application. That's a surprise. Shh. If you know, don't say it in the comments. Everything else, I don't know if the alternator charges because I didn't hook it up, but I might do that. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Maginder Customs. I'd like to thank Cinder Welders and Teslong Borescopes. I don't know. Everybody kind of pitched in. I really like the way this came out. I'm super happy with it. I think it's going to be beneficial in the future. Can you start an engine on the floor of your garage, just hooking up wire to the ignition and using a set of jumper cables and pouring gas down the throat? Of course you can. Can you heat it up? Check the oil pressure when it's hot. Check to see if it's going to overheat. See if it's going to push coolant. You know, can you set the timing? Like I can do all that ahead of time and then drop it in the vehicle. I almost said the truck, but shh, it's going in the truck. Shout outs. Spence bought 5 coffees on the Buy Us a Coffee link. I love all the support we get on social media, Facebook and Instagram. I post as I build. So if you guys want to see me make stuff like this as I go, or in addition to watching the video, you can absolutely do that. We got Amazon links, so all of the electrical components, the relays, all the little things, the little bits and pieces are all going to be in the links in the description. And if you want to support the channel, you can go to the links in the description and then just go on Amazon with that link and buy whatever you normally buy. And it helps us out. We get a small, tiny percentage of that. I'd like to thank you all for spending time with me. This is going to be part of Jess's build series. So if you guys want to see Jess, and everyone always wants to see Jess in videos, Jess will be in all the following videos involving this engine and the vehicle it's going in. She'll be in every single video. She's going to try to do a lot of the work herself. We know how that kind of goes because, you know, she tries. Fold up. You can put it in the corner. It does everything we built it to do. And if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.